I'm terrible at pimping my stuff, so I thought dressing like a pimp might make it a little bit easier. I have blogs where you can read stuff and see things and interact with me. My main one is postmortemstudios.wordpress.com. My writing one and sort of diary blog is over at talesofgrim.wordpress.com. Hope to see you there. Hello lovelies. The Midjourney art AI has been kind of taking certain sections of the internet by storm and upsetting a lot of people as well, mostly artists who seem to be increasingly afraid that Midjourney and other similar artistic AIs are going to steal their lunch and cut them out of a lot of potential work. You know, this isn't fair, right? The arts were what AI was supposed to come for last. It was the bankers and the accountants and the stock traders that were supposed to be put out of work by AI, not artists and writers and creative people. We were supposed to be last. That was supposed to be the most difficult thing to replicate. Apparently not, for some reason. Yeah, it's unfair, but Midjourney is not the first of these AIs to come out. We're all aware of some of the hilariously bad results that some of the other ones like Dall-e and so on have come up with, but Midjourney is the first one that seems to have been widely accepted as producing good art on a semi-consistent basis. It's the first one that's been majorly publicly available, has been properly monetized, and it's competent enough. So it seems like a threat. So why am I in a good place to judge this, to comment on it? I'm an RPG author. I don't have much budget. You know, the cheapness is appealing. I'm an art school dropout, like all the best people. But yeah, I'm in the creative field. I like working with artists. I am an artist, albeit in words mostly. I prefer to work with human people and to help them, but I feel the pressure the other way. So I think I'm in a good place to judge how this is going to go and how we might adapt and how tempting it is. Now, some RPG companies are already using Midjourney to great effect. The other AI art programs, not so much. So they're already using it to provide individual covers or mugshots of NPCs, that sort of thing. So when you play to its strengths, it does have some particular tight uses, which it's very good at least as good as some artists. Now, I've used AI before in products before Midjourney. I used This Person Does Not Exist for some modern or near future RPG headshots. I did that very deliberately as part of the setting of the game and to invoke a slightly surreal uncanny valley effect in what I was doing. So it worked there. But This Person Does Not Exist can produce extremely realistic and detailed pictures of people's faces. It's very limited in that way. So it was perfect for that project. Would I use it in other ones? Maybe other modern day near future settings I might, if I needed headshots, but the trouble with that is you just get a random one. You can't select for race or any other useful thing. You just have to click through randomly until you see something you like, and you better hope you didn't overclick or you're never going to see it again. The appeal of something like Midjourney is that you can get very individuated art at a very low cost. If you want the unlimited subscription to Midjourney, it's I think $30 a month. A limited one is $10 a month. Yeah, $30 is what you might pay for a low-end, small, black and white, simple, individual piece of art from a creator, an artist working adjacent to the RPG industry. Stock art is cheaper, but there's always the threat, especially with very popular stock art, that it's overused, that people go and roll their eyes when they see it in the 10th project, time after time after time. Same as stock footage gets overused, or clip art. So Midjourney is appealing there because it can produce an individual piece that you won't see again, that you can use in your work without really having to pay anyone very much. Now, Midjourney isn't perfect yet, not at all. Its sense of perspective sucks ass. Hard-edged mechanical devices tend to get broken down into more organic forms with weird Escher-like angles and things. Buildings look slightly odd. Most human figures, unless it's like a tight portrait, look off in one way or another. It's also very limited in that it has keywords that it won't even attempt. Like if you wanted to do something more adult, you'd have a very hard time getting Midjourney to do it, or if you wanted to do something gory and horrific in an overt way, you'd have a hard time getting it to do anything. And you trigger it enough times and a moderator might give you some hassle. There's a skill to getting what you want out of it. There's a skill to getting something usable out of it. So we might begin to see a secondary market of AI tamers or AI farmers who know how to use the prompts in order to get the best kind of work out of it. You know, if you charged a $5 at a time, but you were particularly skillful at getting usable results out of AI, that would be a marketable skill. Now, some artists are already decrying this and saying nobody should use it. Others, like Jim Burns, are trying to adapt. He's been using Midjourney to create his own prompts and to create backgrounds to pieces or ideas for pieces, using his own name as a style prompt from the AI training data. And then he's been working over that digitally or around it, or printing it out in high quality and then working on it in traditional media, all those sorts of things. So he's found a way to use it and incorporate it into his workflow and his process, and has even sold pieces to people based on his Midjourney prompts. They just wanted a few things tweaked and done, like album covers and so on. So yeah, there's opportunity there. It doesn't all have to be a negative. And that's really where I think artists need to go. Properly used, this is a tool like any other. It will replace some of your work, no doubt. You'll lose some work, no doubt, to AI. But learning how to use the AI effectively will be an important skill set. And it will open up other revenue streams and speed up your own process, especially when it comes to creating backgrounds for your pieces. Like all these other AI tools, Midjourney just isn't there yet, but it's the closest and it's getting better. And for people on a really tight budget, it can produce results good enough, which is why I think the RPG industry is latching onto it. Indie RPG industry is latching onto it because it can give good enough results at very, very little cost. And when your margins are so tight, you've got to be real, that's massively appealing. Now, I prefer to work with real artists, partly because I like to help people who need the money, partly because I just can guarantee a certain specific look and feel to what I'm asking for. But right now, given the cost of living crisis and the razor thin margins in the indie RPG production scene, yeah, it's definitely tempting to learn how to use this properly and to get usable pieces out of it. So there you go, I guess. My conclusion, evolve or perish. Zang.
Machinations of the Space Princess is an old-school RPG with a sci-fi setting. The rules are familiar and at once innovative. Opened up so you can play literally any alien species you can envision. Purchase it at RPG Now or Lulu.com.